been wanting to try out some of these kind of more bargain guide rails, and I noticed on Amazon the other day they had this, it's two of the 55-inch rails from WEN. I'll have to double check the price. I think it was like 65 bucks or something like that, but it's supposed to be 2 tracks and the doohickeys to join them together. So I just wanted to test them out and see how they do, because the tracks I have for, excuse the mess, we're in the middle of rebuilding everything. The Makita tracks I have are getting a little rough, so I just wanted to have another option. I just want to take a look, see what we've got. Making a bunch of drawers this weekend. That's actually what this material here is for. So one thing I noticed, the box came pretty damaged, but they've got this black plastic thing on it, which doesn't appear to be damaged, so hopefully they're okay. It would appear that despite the bumps on the box, there's no damage, thankfully. And this, like I said, this set does come with the connector kit. One thing I see right off the bat that I like that the set on my Makitas does not have, and I was actually going to do a separate video about this, but on the Makita, well, I don't remember if the connectors were made by Makita or if they were an old Festool set. I've had them so long I don't remember. I don't remember where I got them. Anyway, the thing I don't like with those is it's a flathead screw. And I can never, for whatever reason, I can never find flathead screwdrivers that are the right size to fit that. And they've kind of gotten deformed over the years. Anyway, I was going to replace those with some of these type of grub screws that have an Allen wrench. And it looks like these are already that way and are probably about the same size. That is handy. So one of the reasons I picked this set to try, I think I've mentioned in a couple videos that I really, really like orange. And so that was a big selling point. Silly? Yes. Important? No. But I like orange. So this is where I decided to start. But initial impressions, they look pretty darn nice. Came with the Allen wrench. One thing I do want to do is bump them together and just see if there's any noticeable gaps or anything. Well, I don't think so. They look pretty good. I need to find my straight edge and then check that edge and see how they look. But they're supposed to be compatible with, well, obviously with WEN, but with Festool and Makita and probably some others. I don't know the full list, but I'll stick a link to these in the video description if you're interested. So next, I think I will hook these together. Gotta find my straight edge. And then I've got some more plywood for drawers that needs to be cut. And I like to rip the factory edge on the plywood before I really get into it, because it always seems to be so chewed up. So I will use that cut to cut the splinter guard. I really like this color. Almost makes me want to get one of the WEN track saws, but I don't need another track saw. One difference I just noticed, I'm not sure if I like this or not yet, but the connector bars are actually 2-piece bars. The ones on my Makita, they're just one solid piece, but with this one, there's this bar here, and it fits over this little nub, and you'll notice it covers where all the grub screws pass through. So I think what the idea is here is that when this is riding on the bottom of this channel, and then you go to tighten the grub screws, instead of digging into the softer aluminum, you're pushing onto this steel bar, and I think that's doing two things. It's protecting the aluminum from getting torn up, and it's helping to spread the pressure of the grub screws because that surface area is so small. It's spreading that out so you're getting a better grip. So I think functionally it's probably a better idea than the ones I have for my Makitas. I just have to keep in mind that if I'm sliding these out, there's two pieces and to not let them go flying all over the place. Something else, these came with this little Allen key, which is fine. My sausage fingers kind of have a hard time with little things like this. So I noticed on Amazon the other day that they had these Wera Allen screwdrivers for cheap. I think this was $6 or something, but it's the 3mm and it fits these guys perfect, which that's not why I bought it. There's another similar related project coming up in a week or two that is what I bought this for, but it just conveniently works on these grub screws as well, which is nice. So just a thought if you don't like these little Allen keys. I couldn't find my straight edge, so I'm going to have to use my level. And this plywood probably isn't the best surface to do this, but it's what I have available at the moment. They seem to be pretty straight. I just can't be 100% sure. When I get my outfeed table surfaced, I'll do this again. Hopefully by then I will have found my good straight edge and we can do a proper test of that. But there's no glaring waviness to it. So now let's get these two put together. So I've already put the connecting rods in on this side. And see if we can't get these aligned. Okay. So even being the two pieces, they do seem to connect just fine. Use my straight edge to make sure this is all aligned. Level, not straight edge. Okay. And some of this might look distorted right now. I don't know if it will or not, but I'm using the extra wide lens on my phone. And it does have a tendency to distort things. Anyway, that's put together. So now what I'm gonna do, I need to cut up this piece of 1/2 inch for some drawer bottoms. So we'll use this to cut the splinter guard. There's probably 1,000 ways to cut splinter guards. In my case, what I'm gonna do, since I need to true up this factory edge on the plywood anyway, I'm gonna set the edge of the splinter guard in, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch or so. Just enough so that I know the blade is gonna be, it'll have wood on both sides and the splinter guard will be totally supported as it's being cut. That will leave a little extra on either end, which personally I don't really care about, but one thing you could do is after that initial cut is loosen your connector bars and switch positions and go through and do it again. There's probably other ways to do it too. I'm not that concerned. I use the Festool clamps because they're not the screw-in type. I think there's some other brands that do this same style now. Maybe someday I'll look into those. Fit seems fine, which I expected since they say they're compatible with Makita and Festool. The other end lined up. One thing I like to do when you're first doing this is I've already set my these doohickeys that add tension so that you don't wobble. I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, I like to back it up so that it's like as far back as it can go and still be supported. That way, when you come around to the other side, you're getting as much of the splinter guard as you can. This way. So, see, there are these little bits here. and at the other end, but I don't really care. But if you did, switch them, recut it, you'll be fine. As you can see, I got quite a bit of plywood cut up today. I gotta say, I'm really happy with these tracks. They did way better than I expected for the price. They seem to be dead on straight. The splinter guard seems very well attached. The connector bars worked really well, and I mean the color is nice. So would I buy them again? Yes. Would I recommend them? Yes. I think they've been well worth the money, and they did just as good as the original Makitas that I've had forever. One thing I think I'm going to do with these though, because I've still got both my Makitas and I've replaced the splinter guard, I am going to show a video on that just because this is the original splinter guard from like 15, almost 20 years ago. It was kind of a pain to get that off. So I'll go over how I did that. But because they're back in business, what I'm thinking about doing is keeping those as just their normal individual length, and then leaving this one just put together. Because then it's really easy to switch back and forth. Like when I was ripping this stuff up today, I was ripping the long edge and then I was ripping the short edge. And normally that would have meant having them bolted together, do the long cut, and then I'd have to separate them to do the short cut. But having both sets made it to where I could just put the long one down, cut the long edge, move it out of the way, put the short one on the end, cut the end, and we're ready to move on. So that was actually really convenient. I just have to find somewhere to be able to store this in one piece because it's longer than my ceiling is tall. Maybe I can hang it on the wall somewhere. We'll see. There is another brand I kind of want to try. So the only complaint I have, I think, and that applies not just to these brand new WENs, but to my old Makitas as well, is I use my, I call it a saw table, and I did a video on this a couple of years ago, because my shop isn't huge, and it's easier to cut it outside, and I don't, like I know some people like to just put the rigid foam on the ground and cut on that. I don't. I prefer to stand. I have a crappy back. What are you going to do? The downside to all that is when it's really sunny, these surfaces tend to be reflective. The old Makitas more so than the new WENs because these have kind of a matte finish and those are a little more glossy. It gets very reflective. You get sun in your eyes. I don't like that. There's another brand that I saw. I'll have to look it up. I can't remember what the brand was. I think they were a little bit more expensive than the WEN, but the tracks were black and then the rubber was blue, which matches the Makita anyway. So I kind of would like to try those as well just to see how they do. And if I'm cutting outside on a sunny day, those might actually be a little nicer to use than any of these. So I like them. I'd recommend them. As far as the WEN saw goes, I have no opinion. I've never tried it. I like the look of it, again, because of, and it's a cheap price. Maybe it's good, maybe it's not. I have no idea. But the tracks, I like them. Anyway, thanks for watching. And if you want to see more of the stuff I've got coming up in the shop, which is a lot, because all of this mess, hopefully in the next 2 to 3 weeks, everything's going to have a home. Everything will be put away. All the cabinets are done. I kind of do want to show those because I've never had this much storage and it's exciting for me. But yeah, if you want to see all that, please subscribe and we'll see you next week. Hopefully. I don't know if this will be weekly. I've said that before in the past and it's never really worked. I'm going to try harder.